Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a social media story that really took off fast, grabbed everyone's attention, and then, well, almost as quickly, seemed to just fade away.
Yeah.
We're talking about Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing looking back, isn't it? Especially those early days of the pandemic, when everyone felt so isolated.
Right.
Clubhouse popped up, offering this completely new way to connect just through live audio. It really seemed to fill a gap for social interaction when, well, we couldn't meet up in person.
Totally. And there was that real sense of exclusivity, wasn't there? You needed an invite to get in.
Yeah.
Which just created this massive buzz, like you were part of something special. We've been looking at this really interesting YouTube analysis from Tyroth Money, trying to figure out what actually happened to it.
Yeah, our goal today is really to break down that whole journey. How does an app get so much hype, so much investment, and then sort of vanish from the conversation?
It's quite the story. Launched early 2020, iPhone only at first.
Mm-hmm.
That invite thing was honestly kind of genius for building buzz.
It really was.
They went from, what, maybe 1,500 users in May 2020 to like 10 million by February 2021. Just incredible numbers.
The money followed, didn't it? By April 2021, they hit a $4 billion valuation. A unicorn, basically overnight. It showed how much potential people saw.
Which makes what happened next even more striking.
Okay.
Within about a year of that peak, reports suggested like an 80% drop in regular users.
Wow, 80%.
Yeah, downloads just tanked. From that high of 9.6 million in February 21 down to under 250,000 by July 2023. And then the layoffs hit.
Mm-hmm.
April 2023, cutting 50% of their staff.
Ooh.
So the big question we're tackling is, what caused such a fast decline? What went wrong?
Okay, yeah, let's dig into that. The Tyroth Money piece points to a few key things. And the first one really centers on the very thing that made Clubhouse unique in the first place. That live audio-only disappear afterwards format.
Exactly. The whole idea was live chats, just audio. And crucially at the start, no replays, no recording. Think about using it right. If you're listening to something great, maybe getting some really good insights, and then, life interrupts. Phone rings, doorbell goes.
Right.
You come back, and that key part of the chat, just gone forever. No way to catch up.
And that lack of permanence, that FOMO without any kind of backup definitely led to real frustration for users. Imagine you're in a valuable discussion and your Wi-Fi drops for a minute.
Yeah.
You just cut off completely. Can't rewind, can't check later. Now, they did eventually add recording, I think October 2021.
Yeah, something like that.
But the feeling is, and I kind of agree, it was just too little too late by then.
I think so, too. By that point, the initial excitement had sort of cooled down, and, as the really strict COVID lockdown started easing up, people were naturally drawn back to seeing each other in person.
Makes sense.
That need for a purely online audio-only space just wasn't as strong anymore. It started to feel a bit like a pandemic fad, didn't it?
It did. And building on that, the novelty wearing off, Clubhouse also ran headfirst into another huge problem. The big guys noticing and jumping in. That's the second key point.
Oh, absolutely. The Tyroth video really drives this home, how fast the major platforms reacted.
It was almost instant. Twitter launched Spaces in December 2020, right? Just as Clubhouse was really blowing up.
Yep. Then you had Facebook with live audio rooms, Spotify trying with Green Room, Discord added stage channels, even LinkedIn got in on it with audio events.
And what's really interesting here, they weren't just copying. Often, they were launching with better features right away.
Like recording.
Exactly. Twitter Spaces had recording pretty much from the get-go, which fixed that big frustration point we just talked about.
And the massive advantage they all had, of course, was their existing user base. Millions, billions of users already there.
Right. They didn't have to persuade people to download a whole new app, build a new network from scratch.
It really puts the user in a specific spot, doesn't it?
Right.
If you can get this audio feature in an app you already use daily, like Twitter or Facebook, and maybe it even works better,
Yeah.
why would you bother downloading and trying to keep up with a separate app like Clubhouse, unless it offered something truly fundamentally different and better?
Which it seems it ultimately didn't or couldn't sustain. And that leads us right into the third big issue the video raises. Clubhouse just didn't build a sustainable ecosystem.
I like their analogy for this, comparing a platform to a country, needing all these balanced parts to actually thrive long term.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. So let's look at those parts. First, the population, the users. The analysis suggests Clubhouse focused so much on getting big names celebrities.
Right, the Elon Musks, the Mark Zuckerbergs popping in.
Exactly, which was great for headlines, but it kind of made regular users feel a bit like, I don't know, second-class citizens.
Yeah, like an audience rather than participants. It meant a lot of rooms ended up feeling more like self-promotion or people trying to sell stuff, rather than those genuine chats people first loved.
Less community, more stage. Then the second part, the economy. How does the platform make money? And crucially, how do the creators who make the content make money?
And this is where Clubhouse really fell short compared to, say, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Those platforms have all sorts of ways for creators to actually earn a living.
Definitely. Ads, revenue shares, tipping, brand deals. Clubhouse, especially early on, had basically none of that built in.
So if you're a talented creator spending hours making great content, what's keeping you there long term? There was no real financial incentive.
Precisely. Without that, content quality can dip, people lose interest. And for Clubhouse itself, the video puts it well. They were just burning through investor cash. Huge spending, but no clear plan for bringing money in.
Like that country spending big without collecting taxes just doesn't work forever.
Not sustainable. And the third pillar in this country idea, governance. Rules, safety, moderation.
Another area where they struggled, especially as they grew so fast.
Yeah, the analysis points to real problems with moderating content effectively at that scale. Reports started surfacing about rooms with, racist or sexist discussions, scams, other harmful stuff.
It creates an unsafe environment, doesn't it? Like a country without laws or police to protect people,
Yeah.
it drives users away.
Absolutely. So when you put Clubhouse's sort of small island ecosystem next to the massive established continents of Meta, YouTube, TikTok with their huge user bases, complex economies.
The economy is bigger than some actual countries' GDPs, as the video notes.
Right. You can see why Clubhouse found it so hard to keep people engaged and compete long term. They built something cool, but maybe not the infrastructure to support it.
No, they did try to fix things, didn't they, when they saw things were heading downward?
Oh, yeah. They definitely rolled out a bunch of features later on. The video mentions quite a few attempts to kind of re-energize the platform.
They added replays, finally. Direct messaging, too. Those persistent small group rooms. Houses, I think they call them.
And the Android app, eventually. Got rid of the invite system, too, opened it up, added tipping for creators, some support programs.
Yeah, they threw a lot at the wall.
But maybe the biggest change, the most telling one the video points out, was when they started shifting focus away from live audio.
Towards those short voice notes,
Yeah.
like asynchronous chats.
Exactly, almost like fancy voice messages, which, fundamentally moved away from the live ephemeral thing that made them unique in the first place.
And it seems like none of these changes really brought people back consistently, did they? They couldn't quite find a compelling reason for users to make Clubhouse a regular habit again.
It appears not. So when you boil it all down, what's the big lesson here from the Clubhouse story? The Tyroth money analysis really nails it, I think.
Yeah.
It's that innovation alone, even really cool, disruptive innovation, just isn't enough anymore in the digital world. Not for long-term success, anyway.
Right. You need that whole package.
Yeah.
That sustainable ecosystem we talked about.
Exactly. A strong community, real ways for creators and the platform to make money, good governance, and something truly unique that competitors can't easily copy or improve upon.
A defensible advantage.
Yeah. And maybe Clubhouse's legacy, as the video kind of suggests, isn't the platform itself sticking around in a huge way. Maybe it's more that it sparked the whole social audio trend.
It definitely lit a fire under the big platforms.
Yeah.
Its influence was huge, even if its own dominance was short-lived.
For sure.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About other new technologies or platforms out there now that seem exciting, but maybe lack some of those fundamental ecosystem pieces. What makes a digital idea truly last? What are those core ingredients for real staying power? It's definitely something worth considering. Thanks for digging into this one with us today.